Hello YouTube, Frank Fox here. This is my Red Eyes deck profile. I love this deck. I've been playing this deck ever since Core, Clash of Rebellion. I've been constantly playing this deck against the meta. I know a lot of you would say that's a stupid idea, but I did it. Most because I just love this deck, and I'm willing to put up great challenges against it and just make it all around better. This is the best profile for me. If it's not the best for you, then I apologize, but this has been the best and most consistent build that I've found after after Invasion Vengeance. In my personal opinion, how I play. So let's get to it. We're going to be covering the main deck, side, and extra deck. The main deck first. Alright, first I play 3 of the original Red Eyes Black Dragon. And you can easily play 2 of this, but I personally prefer 3. Personal preference, no particular reason. You can easily play 2 of this and 3 of the Gemini if you want a more Gemini build. But you'll see why I play 3 of this in a second. I play 2 of the Gemini version. I think 2 is the best in my opinion. And I just prefer it at 2. No particular reason again. But this, you probably don't see, the next card, you're probably not going to see in many other profiles, is this. The Malefic Red Eyes Bee Dragon, and he is exactly why I play 3 of the vanilla. It's mostly because he is a free special summon. And yes, I do run field card spells. You'll see them later on. He is just a free special summon. You banish him from the deck. This deck is based on banishing, just like the whole entire format. This whole format seems like it's based on banishing with the ABCs and all that kind of stuff. And, yeah, you'll see down the line what I'm talking about. Alright, that's it for the level 7s right there. Now I play 3 of the Black Snow Legend. Now, what everyone says is true. This can be cloggy if it's run at max at 3, hell, even at 2, it can be pretty cloggy. And I agree with that. But the reason why I play 3 is because I run Allure Darkness, and I use this as a good Allure target. Because if you draw into 2 of these and Allure, you use Allure, banish one of them, summon the next one. And if you need, for some odd reason, you need the other copy, I have a card that brings banished cards back. You'll see that later on. I play 1 of the Meteor Dragon Red Eyes Impact. It's a weird name. So let's just call him Meteor Red Eyes. I want one of him, mostly because I tried running 2 of him because, well, for fusion, and if you actually do run 2 of him, and you somehow get them both into the field and normal summon them both in defense, they can protect each other. 2 of these can protect one another, which would mean you would actually, like Donald Trump, build a wall in a way. Only from destruction, at least, not from banishing or bouncing back to the deck or hand. But, yeah, if you're facing against a deck that does a lot of destroying and sending to the graveyard, actually just destroying because it only protects from destruction, and you run 2 of him, and you can easily get him onto the field, 2 of them, and Gemini summon them both, then I say go for it. Because I tried it, I got it off a couple times. Not all the time, not consistent enough, in my opinion, but this can be a decent card. I mean, it has 2,000 defense, so, but it's the same amount of defense as a regular Red Eyes. So he's mainly in there for a fusion target. But if you need him for, like, I don't know, defense or like just a quick 1 one tribute summon and equip him with a black metal dragon and make it 2400, that's fine, but yeah, I don't recommend more than one. But like I said, if you can get both of them out to the field, Gemini summon both, then I recommend 2. I don't ever recommend running this in 3 unless you're running a pure fusion build. Even then, I can see it being pretty cloggy. Now, this is kind of a, one Red Eyes Retro Dragon. This is kind of a testing at 1, personally. But I do find this guy pretty cloggy. His effect is amazing. I gotta give you that. His effect is fantastic. If I get Darkhold or even Hargeki'd, why I have level 7s, only level 7s, it only works with level 7s and lower Red Eyes monsters, not the fusion cards or anything like that, unless they make a level 7 fusion card, which would be fantastic, but if you have a bunch of your level 7s on the field and they Hargeki it, then you can just special summon him in defense and bring them all back in the same attack position. Hell, even if your level 7s get attacked, you can bring it back. Like, if they only have one monster in the field, like a Blue Eyes, they attack your level 7 in defense, special summon him out, special summon the level 7 back, and, well, then you got monsters on the field for your next play, depending on what you got in hand. Now, of course, I run a Red Eyes Darkness Metal. He's practically in every dragon deck. I've seen some Blue Eyes players run him. I mean, I can understand why, personally. I mean, you can easily just banish, normal summon a dragon monster, banish it, to special summon this, to special summon the other ones out. I don't think he's as needed in Blue Eyes anymore. But before Blue Eyes got all their support, they did run him. I think I saw only like one build that had him in a Red Eyes build, Blue Eyes build, but he's practically needed for a Red Eyes build. However, if this guy came back to like 2, which would be a shocker, I don't know if I would run more than 1, because, well, I don't know personally. I may try it, but yeah, I like this guy at 1 right now. I also run 2 Black Metal Dragon. This is just Searcher, and it's also an attack boost. Fantastic card in my opinion. I think if you don't run this, then I don't really think your build's all that consistent. I mean, sometimes you need an attack boost. Sometimes this deck just needs to beat over the opponent. I've had that quite a few times. Shut up, phone. But I really think this is a stable in a Red Eyes deck. Do I recommend it at 3? Maybe. I personally like it at 2. You could run it at 1 too if you like it better at 1, but I think 2 is perfect for me. Now, this is a little out there, this next card. And a lot of you may not agree, but this is my build. I can play it how I want. And I choose to run my favorite card in the whole game in it. And that is my Whitehorn Dragon. Now, he's actually pretty useful in the deck now. If you don't know what he does, is when this card is normal or special summoned, select up to 5 spell cards in your opponent's graveyard and remove them all from play. Increase the attack of this card by 300 for each card removed by this card's effect. His original attack is 2200. So if he banishes 5, and when he's normal special summoned, its effect is mandatory, but that's perfectly fine. He can get rid of Gospels. And he's a level 6 dragon, so he's useful for the summon, for this. Because its requirement is a level 6 dragon monster, and that's what he is. He's a level 6 dragon, so he's useful on the fusion card. This is my favorite card. This is the McDonald's promo. version. I've always loved this card. This card's been in every main deck of mine ever since I was a kid. And he's always been useful. Always. So, with the effect, he gains 1500 attack power, which pretty much puts him up to 3700 attack. He's a good beater. He can be special summoned out via the Darkness Metal Dragon, or he could be single tributed out if you need it. And he can be used for the fusion, like I said. I mean, if you want to test this guy out, that's fine. This is my card, so I'm running him. And as long as he works with the fusion, he's going to stay in the deck. Only at 1. Next, for the spells, I run 2 Red Eyes Fusion. Mostly because this guy, this card, he restricts your summons. If you use this card, this is the only monster you're summoning for the whole turn. Which is pretty slow, and it doesn't really do all that well, but this is the kind of card that you want to go for first turn at least, because you want to get this fusion card out, this big beater out, burn, and just hope the card survives to the next turn. Or you can just bring this guy out and attach him with a Black Metal Dragon, make him 4100. But I don't run 3 because I found 3 kind of cloggy. I only need 2, and I can't keep restricting myself to only 1 summon a turn every single turn, so I only run 2. Next, I run 2 Insight. I think 1's not enough, and 3's too many. Now, with my Black Metal Dragon, I always use it to search out this specific card, unless I need a level 7 in my hand for a drawing or any other kind of play. But unless you have a specific hand where you need a level 7 in your hand, or any other kind of Red Eyes card, you search that with Black Metal Dragon. Otherwise, always go for this card. Because the reason why you want to go for this card and not directly to this card with the Black Metal Dragon is because you want to thin your deck out as much as possible. This is a 43 card deck I'm running, and believe it or not, it's actually pretty consistent. I've done my 10 shuffles of this. I do it like every single day. I do 10 shuffles, see how it is, and out of the 10, I usually only brick a max of 2 times out of 10. And it's even not that bad of a brick. And with this deck, you do go second. I always recommend going second as much as possible with Red Eyes. You always want that extra draw. Because if you have 5 cards and you're going first, sometimes you need that 6th card to open up your hand. Because that's one thing I've noticed with this particular build, is that you always need the 6th card to open up your hand a little bit. More than half the time. But the other half, you really only need the 5, because you run into either this, either run to the Insight, the Fusion, or the Black Metal Dragon, almost in every hand. It's very rare that you don't draw on either one of those. Yeah, Insight, use it. And I use this to either send my Malefic Dragon, or my Darkness Metal Dragon, depending on the play, to get the search out. And I don't even always search out Fusion with this. I searched out the trap as well. Shut up, phone. God damn it. Alright, next I run 2 cards that are red. The reason why, not a lot of people like this card because they think it's slow because it's only once per turn. But I run 6 targets for it, and it can come in handy. Plus, I also run 3 Allure as well. A lot of draw, like I said, 43 card deck, you need some draw power. I got plenty of darks, plenty of things to banish, and if I don't have any plays for my Malefic, I'll banish that instead. But yeah, 5 draw cards. I recommend it this kind of ratio. If it doesn't work for you, then I either cut one of the cards of red, or cut one of the Allure. It's up to you. Next, I run, pretty stable, 3 Gospel of Revival. I say that because it's an easier name than Return of the Dragon Lords, and it's shorter. This guy's fantastic, and he can. This card can even special summon out this card, because he's a level 8, which is fantastic. More options, And this card coming out, plus this card coming out, really helps the Red Eyes deck. And also helps with rank 8s if you run any rank 8s, which I won one rank 8. You'll see a little bit later. Next, one's Silver's Cry. Pretty simple with Silver's Cry. You special summon out a normal monster. You could do it either defensively by setting it, or just by using it for like an extra summon. You can combo one of these if you have one of them. Go for a quick rank 8. Rank 7, sorry. But Silver's Cry is a pretty good card. You can run it too if you like, but it's only once per turn. Keep that in mind. Next, Twin Twister. This helps unclog your hand and sometimes even gets your level 7s into a grave where you want them. Because if you draw a Twin Twister, a level 7, and a Gospel, use the Twin Twister, ditch the level 7, and use the Gospel to bring the level 7 out. And if you also have a stone in hand, use the stone to go into another level 7. Go for a rank 7 of your choice. And if it's that rank 7 is a dragon, you can use the Gospel of Revival to protect your dragon. Now for field card spells. 2 Dragon Ravine and 1 Spark Field, aka Catalyst Field. I run these because the Catalyst Field can help unclog your hand if you draw into this and Gemini monsters, because this will allow you to normal summon your Gemini monsters out of your hand without tribute, and then normal summon them again to get their effect. That's great when you want to get some extra burn damage and you want a quick 2400 monster on the field. Or if you want to go for a level 7, in case you have a Gemini monster plus a Black Stone, because you can do that. You can use this to normal summon without tribute, then normal summon again. Because it says, each turn, 1 level 5 or higher Gemini monster you normal summon can be summoned without tributing. And I did some tests, and I can actually use this as well as a regular normal summon, because it's along with your additional normal. At least according to the deck pro that I was playing. Next card is a defensive card, Swords of Concealing. I run it at 1. 2, when I ran it at 2, I drew into it practically every single duel. And I was like, what the hell? Why am I always drawing this? This is a good defensive card, however, according to the test, it doesn't really work against the Magic Specters, because they still are counted as the win monsters while face down, so they could still tribute them by using their back row. It does stink, but it also helps slow down your opponent if needed. Next is Pot of Acquisitiveness. Pot of Adversity, whatever you want to call it. This card is what I use to get my banished monsters back after all the banishing I do. A lot of the times I will have 3 monsters in my banished zone, whether it be my effect or whether it be my opponent's effect, banishing my monsters. And I get a draw out of it. Pretty much replaces itself and gets my cards back if I need them, because you need your source material in this deck. You don't want your cards banished. That's why I run this, to get the banished cards back. But you can afford to have some of them banished for a while, but I think maybe running 2 of this would probably be better if you can find room in the deck and you prefer 2 of this. I say go for it, see if it works for you, but I like it at 1 so far. Next is Polymerization. I use this instead of the 3rd Red Eyes Fusion, mostly because, well, I can use this to special summon this guy from hand. Yes, he won't count as a Red Eyes B Dragon, but it's a quick thing. And I can still normal and special summon the same time I use it. I also use it to bring out a couple of the other cards in my extra deck, like my Star Venom and my First of the Dragons. This card can be very useful. Plus, also, original Season 1 artwork. Next is Dark Hole. I run 1 of it, mostly because, well, if this deck was technically in the Worlds thing and have both ban lists accounted for it, then you really don't have to make any changes from 2 Dark Hole to 1. And plus, if you draw into this, plus a Black Metal Dragon, You set the Black Metal Dragon, use Dark Hole, get your search off for Red Eyes Fusion, or of course Red Eyes Insight, then go into Red Eyes Fusion. You could still use Red Eyes Fusion because you set the Black Metal Dragon. Because Red Eyes Fusion says you can't normal special summon that turn, but it says nothing about setting. It says nothing about setting this guy at all. So you can set it, use Dark Hole, destroy it, get your searches off, and go for a quick Red Eye Fusion if that's your only play available. Helps you get your searches off quickly that way, so you don't have to set and pass. That way, you don't have to rely on your opponent for destroying your set monster and risk your opponent one turn killing you when all you had to do was to set your Black Metal Dragon. Now that still may happen occasionally, but Dark Hole helps open that up a little bit. Next I play 3, Return of the Red Eyes. This card is the MVP of the deck. When you're not searching out your fusions, you're searching out this card. This card can also bring out your Red Eyes Darkness Metal when it's destroyed, and also you can have multiple in the field. At least when I tested it, I was able to use both cards face up on the same turn. I don't know if the rules changed since then. I haven't really got them both face up on the field since, but having 3 has been pretty consistent, especially since it special summons normal monsters out. And this is a back row hating format. So if you set it and they try to Twin Twister it, you can flip it up, let it get destroyed, and bring out a Red Eyes monster anyway. The only time when this is foiled is when they banish it. So try to protect it as much as possible. I like it at 3, and I like this better than Red Eye Spirit, because it pretty much has 2 special summoning sort of things, even when it's destroyed. And it's chainable, because it's a normal... It's a continuous trap, but it's also very chainable. Next, the Solemns. 1 strike, 1 warning. If I had the space, I would put an extra strike in it, but I don't. I think this is perfectly fine. Now, of course, since warning is only at 1, got space, you want to change the deck up a little bit to fit your thing, you could put this at 2, even at 3 if you have 3. I do have 3, but I found 1 of each has been perfectly fine for me. That's the main deck. 43 cards. This deck's been consistent for me. That's why I like to show it off. And this isn't the same deck in my previous video of my replays, because that had the synchro plays in it, because I had an extra deck filled with synchro monsters with the Ultimaya and the Crystal Wing. That wasn't being very consistent for me, so I decided to drop it, and I'm happy I dropped it. Alright, next for the extra deck. 3 of this guy. Obviously you want to run 3, and especially if this guy's in the graveyard, you want to special summon him back via the Return of Gospels. He's great for a beater and a rank 8 if you want to run any rank 8s. Next is Star Venom, another level 8. Fantastic card. I would say that this is probably the boss monster of the deck, since its effect is amazing. If you don't know what he does, is that he requires 2 dark monsters on the field. This deck's full of dark monsters. If this card is fusion summoned, you can make this card gain attack equal to 1 special summon monster your opponent controls. To the end of this turn, once per turn, you can target 1 level 5 or higher monster your opponent controls, and to the end of this turn, this card becomes that monster's original name, and replace this effect with that monster's original effects. If this fusion summon card is destroyed, you can destroy all special summon monsters your opponent controls. So this guy's literally like a copycat when he's special summoned. And he gains attack to 1 special summon monster your opponent controls, which he can be a humongous beater, and if you play it right, he can easily OTK. But of course, you need 2 dark monsters on the field. It doesn't have to be normal or effect or anything, or even big. Hell, it could be 2 of these guys. And if you need Star Venom out, and you have a polymerization, you go right into him. It's a card I recommend. I only run him at 1 because, well, that's all I got space for. 1 versus the Dragons, great stall card. Can't be affected by any monster effects at all, and cannot be destroyed by effect monsters via attack. So you spell summon him in the fence, stall out, and if you're drawing dead, you just try to keep him in the field as long as possible until you can draw a card to open up your other place. And he's dark as well, so if somehow you can get Star Venom back out, then that's great. Also, since he's a level 8 dragon, you can bring him back out with the Gospels. Even though he's not going to get his fusion summon effects, he's still 2800. Now for the ranks. 3 flare metal, sorry. 3 flare metal dragons. My favorite red eyes monster. Fantastic burn, great effect, can't be destroyed by via Regeki or Dark Hole, in case, you want to Dark Hole the field. With this guy in the field and he's your only card on the field, your Dark Hole pretty much turns into a Regeki. Fantastic card, I recommend it at 3. Next is 1 Big Eye and 1 Draco Sack. Staple, rank 7s. This guy snatch your monsters, this guy for defensive plays with tokens and all. Now for the rank 8 I was talking about. Hope. Hope Titanic Galaxy. Is that how you say it? Hope Harbinger Dragon Titanic Galaxy. Yeah, sure. This guy's a great card. If you can get him out with any of your level 8 fusions, then I highly recommend doing so, especially if you have Gospels on the field. This format, of course, is highly spell card. You can use it to snatch spell cards. And if you have this, plus any other rank monster on the field, when it's destroyed, this guy gains attack. So I don't ever recommend putting this in the fence position, even though my previous video I did. That was a misclick, and if I would have gotten him into attack, I would have freaking won that turn. But, whatever. What ifs, right? Next is this guy. Dragulus the Vampiric Dragon. He's a fantastic card for getting rid of monsters that cannot be destroyed. Mostly because you can detach a material, and you can target 1 face-up monster on the field that was special summoned from the extra deck. You can target him too. And he has a flip effect as well. If this card is flipped face up, send 1 card on the field to the graveyard. So you can use his effect, flip him face down, flip him back face up, then he doesn't become special summoned from the extra deck anymore, so you can only use that once. And send any card on the field to the graveyard. No destruction, no targeting. So if you're up against a Blue Eyes player that's running the Chaos Max, you target this guy, flip him face down, and flip him back face up, send it to the grave. Of course, you want to special summon this guy in defense when you exceed summon him, because he is 28 defense, 24 attack, so he's a defensive guy. And he's a level 6, a rank 6. So if you can get the Impact plus the White Horn Dragon out, you can exceed summon him. I do recommend this card. He's a fantastic card. Great defensive monster. And this is probably going to spoil the side deck, but I have 3 cherry targets. Dark Law, because I'm running Dark Law because, well, Toad is expensive as all hell. And plus, Toad is easier to get around for this deck than Dark Law is, because Dark Law pretty much says nope to your graveyard. And Red Eyes needs its graveyard, so you want to get rid of Dark Law as quickly as possible. And plus, without Dark Law, heroes are practically dead. I mean, unless they, can keep up with the Toad thing for as long as possible. But without Dark Law, then the heroes don't really have that much to go. Unless they have, unless they want to stick going with Acid and Anki all the time. Or if they have a way to get Dark Law back from the Banish Zone. I also run Dark Meteor Dragon, because this guy, if a Blue Eyes player or any rank rank 8 Galaxy deck that goes into this card. This guy practically forces you to banish 3 cards from your 3 monsters from your deck, and he's a 4,000 attack. I put this guy instead of the Spirit in my extra deck because I found this guy more hard to deal with than Spirit for Blue Eyes. And of course ABC Dragon because, well, every ABC Dragon, you know, everybody knows ABC Dragon, how awesome of a card and broken of a card that is, along with the field card spell theirs. And finally, I'm sorry for the long video. It's my first time doing it, so please excuse it. Side deck. 2 Ally Justice, along with 1 Barrier Statue of the Abyss. I use these for Blue Eyes players. Fantastic. This guy can, when he's on the field, both players can only special summon dark monsters. Practically this whole deck is dark. This guy, as long as he's on the field, neither player can special summon light monsters. So I side all these in for any kind of light deck. Sometimes I'll side this guy in if the deck is a particular attribute other than dark. But the reason why I don't run 3 Ally Justice is because, well, sometimes you just need a Barrier Statue as well. And of course, the Barrier Statue may not have as much attack as the Ally Justice. I found this more useful at 2-1 ratio. Next, of course, is the 3 cherries. Yes, these are fake. Because, well, I'm not going to any sort of locals. Because they're not really close by. And the reason why I have fake ones is because I'm using it for test shuffling and tests at real shuffling. And if I do plan on doing it, I will get the real ones. I'm hoping for reprints because once these get reprinted, I will be getting real copies. Next is 2 Chaos Hunter. 2 game I sell. Chaos Hunter is a level 7. Can really help against banishing. Your opponent cannot banish monsters as long as he's face up on the field. And you can discard 1 card to special summon this card when my opponent, or when your opponent, special summons a monster. So if you draw this card, he special summons a monster, you use this effect, discard a card, special summon this as well. It's 2,500 attack. And as long as it's face up on the field, the opponent cannot banish cards. It's a great card. Especially against any sort of banishing, against Blue Eyes, against ABCs, anything that banishes. And of course, Gameciel to get rid of any kind of pesky monsters. And he's 22 attack, so I can easily attack over with any Red Eyes. Next is 2 System Down, of course, for ABC. 1 Anti-Spell for Pendulums if needed. I did have this at 2, but I found like only 1 has been needed. And of course, 2 Dimensional Barriers. The reason why I have 2 of these is because I bought 10 packs from Walmart and pulled 2 in the 10 packs. So that was fantastic. So I run 2 in the side deck. Fantastic card. Can really help you out in troublesome things. Just be sure to call the right type of card, especially if you're facing against Blue Eyes. If you call Synchro and AXCs, then, well, you're kind of screwed there. But if you call C's and they Synchro, depends on what they Synchro. Depends whether you're screwed or not. So yeah, that's my deck. Let me know how you feel about it. If I hyped it up a little bit too much and it wasn't to your standards, then I apologize. That was unintentional. But that's my deck. It's been consistent for me. And, of course, as the formats change, it will be changed. I hope you enjoy. Let me know what you think. And I'll talk to you all later.